Bruh, this year's NBA draft was extremely fascinating, right? Because it was one narrative that really stuck out. They really highlighted on ESPN, and it was talked about a lot, right? The vilifying of the American players versus the uplifting of the foreign player, right? In this picture by Hoops, who's a big influencer on X, he fed into it. He said the difference of someone who's always had everything versus the ones who wanted everything, right? And that was kind of, if you didn't pay attention, that was kind of the theme of this year's draft, right? Because you have what the NBA has just turned into. The NBA has turned into a sport where it's all about the American player that comes from money. You know, a lot of these American players come from their dad was in the NBA or they had connections, because these camps and these programs, they are pushing out the poor American kids from Harlem, Detroit, you know what I mean, Miami. The players that will come from these trenches, the trench babies, they are cutting them 100% out, right? And so the American player now is just somebody who comes from money, or somebody whose family was in the NBA, father, you know what I'm saying, something like that. And with that, you have the rise of the foreign player. Now, the foreign player, a lot of times, they come from nothing, you know what I'm saying? So they have the story of adversity, coming from nothing, becoming something, right? And I find that very interesting, you feel me, like, that the NBA has flipped like that, because you have those players right here in the United States of America, but those players are being kicked out. Yo, let's just keep it real. If you're a black kid from Harlem, black kid from Brooklyn, New York, or you from Atlanta, you from Detroit or something, your chances of making it are slim to none now. It was already hard because you had to be one of the best players, but now just the politics of it all, your ass is, I mean, that's why I still love the football. That's why I still love football more than NBA, because it's still a trench baby sport. You can still make it out of the projects if you playing football. But if you're American, if you in the projects and you play basketball, my nigga, you need to put a football in that boy's hand. Feel me? Like, it's just keeping it real, because it's becoming. It is very imperative. You seen it this year at this draft. Every American kid that got drafted either came from money, or their father was in the league. And that's why I blame a lot of this on former NBA players, because they got greedy. You know what I'm saying? They just worrying about this. They can afford the program. They can afford the camp. They can afford to make it in the league. You know what I'm saying? They pay their way to make it into the league. I mean, you know, shout out to Bronny James, but they paid to make it in the league. And, you know, in the NBA, and then you have the NBA who's hyper focused on everything foreign. The NBA has already put it out there. Hey, we trying to expand. We going foreign. Everything is about expanding to foreign territories. That's what the NBA mind is on. That's what they're trying to highlight. You know what I'm saying? But see, the problem with the NBA is having is with these foreign players. That doesn't mean they're gonna come over here and acquiesce to the American lifestyle. That's why you still have not seen the face of the league become a foreign player yet, because these foreign players are still, they gonna come over here and get their money, but they still care about what's going on. Like, you had Jokic, none of these foreign players, a lot of them don't even care to be the face of the league. You know what I'm saying? They don't even care. And you praising those players. Now, the American players that come from the slums, that break through like an Anthony Edwards, you crucify him to Ja Morant. You crucify them so much that they don't want to be the face of the league. That's why the NBA is in a very unique position right now, because the NBA wants to make the league all about international, foreign. But the foreign players, they come over here to get their money, bro. Like, what the player, I think the South Sudan kid, he said, I love the opportunity. I love what's going to happen, but, you know, this is not rocket science. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like putting down You know, he appreciates the money. These people are coming here for the money, man. They're not as passionate about the sport. Like, that's why still basketball is still in America. America is still the basketball capital of the world. Even though our players are declining, the NBA and the narrative is more positive for the foreign player. Everything is about the foreign player. But the capital of basketball, where the NBA still makes its bread and its butter, is America. You know, so that's where this conundrum is coming from. It's like, you want the league to be foreign. You want the league to be all about the foreign player. You change the rules for them. You acquiesce to their demands. But your main consumer, your main customer is still an American. So it's in a real weird space. Now, the main consumer is a white American. So that's still... You know, that's where it still matters. Because the white American, they just see black. They ain't tripping. They just want to, you know what I mean? I mean, that's another thing. Because you're white, they don't even give a damn. But it's one of those things, man. It's a very interesting thing that's going on with the NBA now, with the vilifying of the American player versus the uplifting of the foreign player. I mean, you can't get it. You can't get it no more than this year's draft. I mean, it was clear as day.